Picture an entire town, completely quiet. Blackwood, Pennsylvania. If we zoom out and just kind of look at it from a macro level, it looks, well, perfectly peaceful, safe, entirely asleep. It's the kind of place where absolutely nothing bad ever happens. But let's zoom in, past the dense, misty forest that borders the town, past those flickering amber streetlights reflecting off the wet pavement, through the heavy, relentless rain drumming against the rooftops, right down to one specific house at the end of a cul-de-sac. It's 2:14 a.m. The town is fast asleep, but Sarah Miller? She is not. She's wide awake standing in her dark kitchen because her phone is ringing. And as we're going to discover in this explainer, that phone call shouldn't have been physically possible. No way. It wasn't a prank. It was the terrifying start of a nightmare that would literally haunt this town for decades. Tonight, we're unpacking the chilling truth behind the midnight caller. When Sarah actually answered that impossible ring, she didn't get a friendly greeting. Instead, there was just this sound. Heavy, rhythmic breathing. And then someone whispering her exact address. I mean, just imagine standing in their dark house at 2:14 a.m., clutching the receiver, looking out the window and seeing a shadowy figure standing right at the edge of the woods. It is a moment of pure, concentrated terror. Section 1. The Impossible Phone Call. October 14th, 1998. Okay, let's dive into this explainer and look at how this nightmare actually began. Because to really grasp the gravity of this whole shebang, we have to go back and set the context for that fateful night. So there's a really stark contrast to this story. On one side, you've got the Blackwood everyone knew. A sleepy, trusting town where people genuinely left their doors unlocked at night. Seriously, nobody locked up. But on the other side, we have what the local sheriff's department would later officially classify as the most sophisticated home security breach they had ever investigated. And caught right in the middle of this jarring contrast was Sarah, a local librarian who was just, trying to spend a quiet night home alone. And this brilliantly illustrates the sheer impossibility of what Sarah experienced. Let's trace this timeline. According to the official police reports, the phone lines in her entire district went completely dead at exactly 2 a.m. Dead, zero dial tone, zero connection. Yet exactly 14 minutes later, at 2:14 a.m., her landline rings. The timeline shows us that someone actually bypassed the entire local grid just to make absolutely sure that one specific phone in that one specific house would ring. Part 2. Coordinates in the woods. The next morning, the investigation officially kicks off. Detective Miller takes the lead, and what he discovers pushes this case from a creepy phone call into something way, way more sinister. So Detective Miller goes out to the edge of the woods where Sarah saw that figure. But the physical evidence, or actually scratch that, the eerie lack of it, completely chilled his blood. There were absolutely no footprints in the mud, no tire tracks leading away, nothing. Just one single piece of evidence, left deliberately behind, a note, pinned violently to a massive oak tree with a heavy, professional-grade hunting knife. And on that piece of paper, a precise set of coordinates. Those coordinates led investigators exactly 3 miles away from Sarah's house, deep into this really rough terrain, straight to a decommissioned, totally hidden underground bunker. But as they dug deeper, the true, terrifying scope of the midnight caller finally came to light. 6. That's the number of other residents in Blackwood who received the exact same systematic, impossible call that night. This wasn't just some random act. Someone was out there watching. They were recording, and they had been waiting to execute this on a mass scale. Section 3, the surveillance bunker reveal. Inside the coordinates, let's move to and see how this builds, because the tension reaches its absolute peak right here. The SWAT team gets called in. They arrive at those coordinates 3 miles out. Picture it, flashlight beams frantically cutting through the pitch black darkness as they get ready to breach the heavy steel doors of this bunker. They burst through the doors, weapons drawn, fully expecting a violent fight. But they didn't find a physical attacker hiding in the dark. They didn't find the monster they thought was terrorizing the woods at all. Instead, they walked right into this, a high-tech surveillance room. This wasn't some dirty, abandoned hideout. It was a glowing sea of monitors, completely lighting up the underground darkness. It was like walking into an evil command center. And what was playing on those glowing monitors? Every single room in Sarah's house. Hidden cameras had been meticulously wired throughout her entire home, broadcasting her most private, vulnerable moments directly into this bunker. So the crucial point is the ultimate, sickening twist of this entire case. The perpetrator sat in the room with the police every single day. Yeah, you heard that right. This wasn't some drifter hiding out in the woods. It was an inside job. The person responsible wasn't looking for money or a ransom or anything like that. They were orchestrating this entire nightmare because they were trying to create the perfect story. Part 4, the unanswered questions, the aftermath. The SWAT raid might have ended the immediate threat, but what happened in that bunker left a really dark cloud over Blackwood, because the investigation didn't just end with an arrest, it ended with total silence. See, the truth about the midnight caller was deliberately hushed up for years. Even to this day, there are FBI files and unreleased documents just locked away. The authorities actively tried to erase the deepest, most disturbing details of this case, leaving all the locals to constantly wonder, what else did the perpetrator record? And honestly, who else might have actually been involved?
Which brings us to the end of our explainer today and leaves us with a truly chilling thought to ponder. Are you ever really alone in your own home? And who do you think was sitting behind that monitor, pretending to solve the very crime they were committing? Let me know your theories down in the comments below. And hey, if you want to dive deeper into these dark archives and analyze the facts with us, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Turn on those notifications, because next week we're cracking open even more cases that were meant to stay hidden.